everybody, Lindsay here, and it is time to wrap up the Relentless franchise with Relentless 4 Ashes to Ashes. The only person we have coming back from any of the other movies is Leo Rossi.
Dates.
He is the driving force to finish out this franchise.
This Calvin and Hobbes makes me laugh.
Relentless 4 Ashes to Ashes was directed by Ole Sassone, I think is how you say his name. And he's the dude that directed the original Fantastic Four. No, not that one. This one.
Be transformed. They become the most powerful superheroes of all time.
Yes, the one that they made with no intention of releasing it. It's actually not that bad.
Doom. It's clobbering time.
And it's written by Mike Sevi, who also wrote Relentless 2, which I did not care for, so that did not bode well for the denouement of this franchise. But it does have Famke Janssen in it.
I can't confirm or deny that, I'm sorry.
And she's probably the best thing going on in this movie, and it's really not saying much.
That's not fair of you to ask. Especially after you specifically said you wouldn't.
But we do have another serial killer in this. He's no William Forsythe. But who is?
Why are you ruining everything? Why?
We get this opening scene of this killer's first kill, or at least the first kill that clues them in that, hey, we have a serial killer on our hands. It's this very explicit sex scene that was preceded by some of the worst acting I've seen in a motion picture.
I'm leaving already.
And I've seen 12 witchcraft movies.
Hey! Don't give up so easy.
But the tone of this film, what it seems to be going for, is very noirish. Maybe a little Chinatown, but then we get into a little Basic Instinct, Body of Evidence type feel. I think that's what they're going for here. But the killer interrupts the sex scene and stun guns the dude and kills the woman in like this weird anointing with the last rites, etc., etc., and he like clubs her to death.
It is appointed unto man once to die, and then the judgment.
His MO has religious overtones. And then we see where our detective Sam Dietz is, Mr. Leo Rossi. Where is he in his life? Well, he's still on the force. He has a new partner.
Deeps!
Want me to get that?
And it's a woman. And she really tells him the business. Like, she doesn't put up with this shit. She tells him like it is.
Oh, what's wrong, Dietz? Did I mess up your chance to get laid?
And now he's a single dad. And he's the dad of a 90s teenager.
Did you clean your room, do the laundry like that?
No, I didn't, and I'm really ashamed of myself, but I gotta go.
Yes. Not only is he divorced from Meg Foster, but now she's fucking dead.
Carol, I need a little help here.
He's not with the girl from the previous movie anymore. She's probably still pissed at him for using her as bait, even though he really didn't. But he's got his eyes on old Famke.
She's way out of your league.
And I must say, Leo Rossi in this movie, he's definitely the coiffiest Rossi we've seen so far in this series. I mean, his hair is just impeccable. It might be bulletproof. And once again, he's a producer, so his love interest is played by Famke Janssen. She plays a super smart psychiatrist. She had treated his son, and it turns out the woman that got killed was her patient. So he goes to talk to her with his partner, and it's a little obvious what his intentions are.
My partner?
He's definitely gonna try to fuck her. He's a producer now.
The only investigating you want to do is under that woman's sheets.
Jesse, a good cop is always thorough.
And Famke, she's getting some weird phone calls. She doesn't tell Leo Rossi about it, but she's getting some weird phone calls. So she star 69's the number, and it turns out it was the killer that called her. And so she calls him back on his giant phone. No, it's just a split diopter shot, but it does look like he has a giant phone in his apartment.
And cast out thy name as evil for the Son of Man's sake.
But hey, a split diopter shot in a movie like this, I was not expecting that. And so we know that Rossi's got eyes for Famke. And so he gives her a call and he's like, hey, you're a psychiatrist. I'm dealing with this fucking serial killer. How about I take you to dinner and let me pick your brain? See if you can give me any tips or hints or advice on this killer.
So what do you say?
And this whole seduction scene over the phone is really uncomfortable because it's Leo Rossi talking to Famke Janssen, and she's like into it. And the face and noise that he makes when she says yes and he hangs up is truly frightening. And we get more stuff with his son. His son doesn't call him dad, he calls him Sam. And he is very much 90s teenager. He's got the long hair, he's got the flannel. He probably hangs out at the skate park in the train yard with other ruffians.
Don't call me Sam. Sit down.
Wayfish burnout girlfriend included.
Hey, Mr. Deeds.
Hi,
So then time comes for this dinner between Rossi and Famke. So they get some takeout and they go to her place. And she's like into it, but then she starts talking about her parents, and then she starts crying, and then she's like, I can't do this right now, can you leave? And so then he's gonna leave because she's upset, and she couldn't let him go though. She has to walk him out to his car.
well, I'll give you a call.
And he gets in and he rolls down the window, and she just cannot contain herself, and she thrusts her head into the window and just plants one on him big time. And it just made my skin crawl. And we get a little bit more information about the killer. It turns out he works as a janitor in Famke's office building where she has her psychology practice. And he also has all these weird religious tchotchkes in his apartment. And he self-flagellates. The second victim kill is kind of interesting because the victim is deaf. So she doesn't hear him breaking in. She doesn't hear him creeping around her. It's a pretty one of the more well done sequences in the movie. And he grabs her and he drowns her in the tub, and it's very artistic looking with some great music.
We have a sense of death in ourselves, but we should not trust in ourselves, but in God who raises the dead.
And this time, instead of doing a Catholic death rite with the body, he does a Chinese death rite with the body by stuffing jade rocks all in and up and around her things.
More rituals, but different ones each time.
What kind of ritual is shoving jade up someone's...
Rossi, Sam Dietz, this character just cannot get his shit together. He wants Famke Janssen so bad that he's obsessed with her. He finds more evidence linking her to the victims, and he hides it from not just the department, but also his partner. And he's fucking up at home too. His house is a mess. He's got moldy food.
Oh, a candy bar for breakfast?
That's all we have.
Come on, make toast.
And he's still a slave to the telephone. He puts that telephone over everything else around him.
I gotta go.
Pull up your pants. Deets.
So in 4 movies, he has not changed. And again, with this movie, we don't have that dynamic, interesting killer, and we don't focus on the killer enough in this movie. What this movie spends more time doing is having this back and forth with Rossi and Famke's character, and the struggle with him and his son, and how his partner has the hots for him and he's not about it. So it feels like the killer is pushed to the wayside. And also in this movie, we don't get to know the character or see the character very much like we did in the other movies. In this one, he wears a mask. When we see him without the mask, his face is always in shadow, or he's turned away from the camera. The third victim is kind of humorous because it's this woman, she's taking in groceries and she feels like someone's watching her. She's like getting the groceries out of her car and is gonna walk into her apartment building. While she's walking through the door, someone comes through the other side of the door, her groceries drop, but it's this really cute guy, I guess, that she's had her eye on. They kind of allude to that, but she drops a few things, one being a giant can of soup.
You should drop by.
A giant can of soup. But she leaves the few things that have spilled out, and she goes in and she shuts her door and she's like all afluster because this hot guy was like, oh my god, I'm gonna stop by. They had their little meet cute outside the door, so she's got the butterflies going, and all of a sudden there's a knock at the door, and she looks out the peephole and she just sees a hand with this giant can of soup, and she's like, oh my god, it's the hot guy. He brought me my soup. And so she opens the door and she takes a giant can of soup to the face. And then, so far we've had different death rituals with each of these victims. We had the Catholic last rites, anointing of oils, all that shit. The second one, we had the Chinese jade inserts. For this victim, at first I couldn't quite tell what he was doing. I just saw him ripping like sheets apart into strips. And then he starts wrapping them around her. And by the time they showed her face, well, her eyes, I had kind of figured out, oh my god, he's gonna mummify this bitch. And that's exactly what he does. Kind of. He just wraps her up in sheets and does something with road flares. I'm not exactly sure what. But yeah, he turns her into a mummy. And it's so silly. It's so fucking silly. So Rossi sees this whole her bringing groceries home as an angle, and they're like, let's find the grocery store she went to, let's check the surveillance tapes, and lo and behold, they see the killer's car following her out of the parking lot, and they zoom in. We have an enhance moment.
That's a 999.
917 MOE.
Get the license plate, go to the guy's apartment. He's there, but he's not gonna open the door, and then he takes off running. Rossi and his partner chase him down fire escapes and stairwells and across lobbies, across the street, into an alley, and the killer hits his partner, whose name is Jesse, with his car. And again, we get a face and a sound from Leo Rossi that is very, well, I'll just show it to you. So he's finally fucking had enough, and he goes and confronts Famke, and he's like, what the fuck do you know? You know who this guy is. You need to tell me. I need to know. And we get this like Chinatown, she's my sister and my daughter moment where she's like, he's my brother. He's fucking crazy. My parents are dead because he was driving them up to this cabin and he turned the car into oncoming traffic and they were both dead. He almost died. He had a near-death experience, but he did survive.
4 people are dead because you didn't want your brother to get hurt. Who made you God?
In my opinion, my brother is worth any number of people.
Rossi's at his wit's end now. He goes home, he smacks the shit out of 90s teenager, who kind of deserved it. But then he hears a noise outside and he goes to investigate, thinking the burnout girlfriend is just sneaking in the house again. But no, it's the fucking killer. And this was where the movie totally takes a left turn and completely surprised me, because the killer kills Leo Rossi. He's dead. He dies. We see his spirit self, like fucking Patrick Swayze in Ghost, stand up over his dead body, and then he's looking in the pool and he sees like a mermaid, but then it turns into his wife, who's in this huge veil and wedding gown, and it's not Meg Foster. Doesn't even look like Meg Foster.
Carol, you look just like you did the day we first met.
And we get this weird kind of sentimental scene between him and his dead wife, but then, for some fucking reason, the killer starts giving Leo Rossi CPR and brings him back to life.
I can't, Mark.
Death before he'd seen the Lord's Christ.
No, I can't. I can't.
What the fuck? And so he comes back to life, the killer leaves, the burnout girlfriend finds him laying there, calls the ambulance, whatever. He's gonna be fine. So he has this like change of heart because he almost died. He has a heart-to-heart with his partner. He has a heart-to-heart with his son, and his relationship with his son is saved by movie magic. They're gonna be just fine.
Huh? Yeah, come on.
So now he's really pissed at Famke because he's like, this guy just fucking killed me. So he goes to confront her again, and this time she's still not giving it up, but then she finally tells him, yes, all the victims I was counseling because they had near-death experiences and that left them fucked up. And the reason her brother is killing them is because he also had a near-death experience, and he sees himself as like the physical embodiment of the Final Destination monster karma thing. So he's like, these people were supposed to die when they had these near-death experiences, so I need to go and finish the job, and that's his motivation.
He felt guilty for not accepting God's judgment to die in the accident. He thinks he's the hand of justice, bringing those who should have died to God.
Which could work in a movie like this, but it's just handled very clunkily, and they don't spend enough time with the serial killer in this movie for that to flesh out and work, because we don't see a lot of his methods or his psychosis, or we don't get into his head very much. We're just given exposition by Famke Janssen. I mean, every once in a while he calls up Famke and whispers in a really weird voice some biblical shit to her, but that's about it. That's all we get. But oh my god, the killer's there.
I truly don't know where he is. And the only place he might go.
And he grabs Famke, and we finally see his face. And oh my god, he's got a fucked up face. which really has nothing to do with his character or why he does what he does. It just, I guess, shows that, oh, he was in this car accident, and that gave him his near-death experience, which sent him down this path. And Rossi pulls his gun, we're going back and forth, he's like, let her go, or I'm gonna shoot you, but she doesn't want him to shoot her brother, so she's getting in the way, and then he finally grabs her, and then something completely unexpected, he throws / trips / pushes Famke Janssen out the window. And she falls all the way down on the concrete and is dead. And we get another amazing Rossi reaction. And what I take from that reaction is that he's really disappointed that she's dead because he was gonna fuck her. And then the brother just takes a diver right off the window, too, and lands on top of his sister. He's dead as well.
Thou shalt return.
Don't do it. No, don't do it! No! No! No!
So once again, Rossi really doesn't do much in this movie. And he doesn't change very much in this movie. I mean, the other 3 movies, we get this kind of, oh, he's gonna stop being a cop, he's gonna go be a dad. In this one, he gets home and his son's girlfriend have cleaned the house and they've cooked dinner. But they're not staying, they're leaving because they asked the partner, Jessie, to come over and told her to get all gussied up for Rossi.
Corey invited me for dinner. He said to dress formal.
And it's so weird that they have this relationship thing because, yeah, there's some antagonism between the two of them. But I mean, I can see it coming from her side for some reason, but I don't see it from Rossi that he ever had any interest in her. And then they kiss, and it's disgusting, and then they kind of walk off frame, and then the camera fixates on a boiling pot of water for some fucking reason. What does it mean? What does the boiling pot of water mean? Like it's just a matter of time before things boil over again? Is that what it's telling us? Is that what you're telling us, movie? That it's just gonna go on and on and on, and Detective Sam Dietz is never gonna change, and he's just gonna go through women over and over again and still be a slave to the job and barely affect the outcome of these investigations. So this is a really weird franchise because it has such peaks and valleys throughout it. The first movie I really enjoyed. It was interesting. Judd Nelson did a good job of playing the killer. The second one I didn't like. We had this whole spy espionage thing, NSA. Leo Rossi's character does absolutely nothing, affects nothing in the entire narrative. The third movie I fucking loved, probably my favorite, and that's due to William Forsythe alone. This movie, again, ranks pretty low for me because, again, we didn't get that dynamic of a killer, and Rossi is just not doing it in this movie. Famke Janssen has some good stuff. There's some crazy funny shit going on. A woman gets mummified, his crazy facial expressions, the overdramatic acting, the terrible music. It's on the verge of being so bad it's good. So if I had to rank them, I would go 3, 1, 4, 2 is how I would put them. But the reason I wanted to do these videos is because I stumbled across the first one, and then I realized that there were 4 of them. And I was like, how did this movie that I just watched spawn 3 goddamn sequels? Where is it gonna go? What are they gonna do with it? Are they gonna do anything with this character? And they really didn't. But hey, they got William Forsythe, and he played one of the most demented, psychotic, weird, interesting serial killer characters in a franchise like this. Hey everyone, it's Editing Lindsay, and I just wanted to add my final thoughts on this fucking franchise after watching all 4 movies, taping these videos, editing all of them, pouring through the movies again to find all the clips. I have a little bit different of perspective than when I first sat down to record all these videos. And I must say that this has been a very interesting experience. Because while I still think that 1 and 3 are the best quote-unquote films in this franchise, 2 and 4 have their merits because they're just so batshit fucking crazy. And they're very enjoyable and very entertaining because they're so silly. I think I would probably rank them now 3, 1, 2, 4. Because even though there wasn't really a serial killer in the second one, it was still very entertaining. It had some great kill scenes. It had Miles O'Keefe's butt. There was a lot of stuff to enjoy. And even in this final installment, there was the crazy death scenes. He mummifies a lady after hitting her in the face with a giant can of soup. And I must say, I think after doing all of this, I am over my Leo Rossi phobia. I think, truth be told, he doesn't do that horrible of a job in these movies. It's just his character isn't written as well as it should be. And that's not his fault. There's things in each one of these movies that I will always remember, even if the rest isn't very memorable. But I just wanted to add that little addendum, this little appendix right at the end. Some final thoughts after the entire experience is over. And I hope all of you enjoyed this experience as well. But now, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Thank you very much for following me on the journey through the Relentless franchise. It was definitely relentless. It kept my attention. I was very interested to see the path of this franchise, the escalation, the de-escalation, all of the twists and turns, all the new developments, what was successful about it and what wasn't. I have no idea if anyone else has ever watched all of these movies. If you have seen these movies, please let me know. But I've got some other barely known franchises that I'm going to talk about, but this one really struck me and I wanted to do it first. So hopefully you enjoyed this, but that is gonna do it for this little video. So until next time, this is Lindsay signing off. I'll check you later.